Hi again. So, welcome to part 4, I guess. Yes, so we've talked about space, the final frontier. You know, have we got space to work in? It's really good to have space that you just regularly come back to, in a sense, as well. And it, on the making a great painting course, the main course, like in that module, we start talking about space on a much deeper level, and I think you keep coming back to these points and realise how profoundly they impact on your own life. So another fun bit for me really is materials. I get really excited about the materials to do the particular type of artwork I do, painting, oil painting, and like building up this relationship with the medium that you have. So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of interesting things that sort of happen in the way sort of collecting things. You sort of go, oh, I better have one of these, I better have one of those, I better have, and eventually that can really impact on this wonderful space that you've made. It's full up with stuff that you don't use. So it's quite important to start with, I think, to be aware of your particular traits, as it were. Some people are collectors, some people aren't. And also, so anyway, so really I want to take you from this, da-da, that's a good painting, oh no, it takes you from this to, there's Miles Davis again, or there's this corner of George Michael. So what I found really useful from the point that I started was just like a personal decision, was to make up the canvases myself. My wife thought I was mad, where she often thinks I'm completely mad, but actually it's a wonderful way to get involved with the piece of work before you even start it. So as like a bolt-on, I'll be doing like a couple of little videos of the process that I do to stretch these canvases. Some tools I've picked up on the way that are relatively inexpensive, and I've stretched all my canvases pretty well for the last 3 years. And it means that you can pick the material, the canvas that you work on. For example, you can work on this. This is a portrait that I'm working on at the minute. You can use this type of stuff, which is like linen, which is a bit more difficult to paint on, to be honest. For starters, it's good to use this stuff, which is like print roll. It's like a print roll canvas. It's sort of plasticky, but it stretches really well on this, and it's also really quite easy to start to move paint around and stuff with the oils, and with the acrylics they take immediately. Whereas with the cloth-based canvases, it just takes a bit more work and can be a bit more frustrating. That's what we want to get rid of to start with, is break down these barriers about actually getting paint onto a canvas, getting an image and getting making some sort of progress. Quickly. So there you have it. There's, like I say, I won't go into too much detail with all of these things. Now the other thing is, like when we're working, what I tend to do is, like with my oil paintings, I tend to use acrylics, so I can make the marks. I can make marks on the canvas and get a general idea of what the finished project, to see if I've got the right idea. I keep saying, do you know? Sorry, of course you don't. You wouldn't be watching this if you knew. Well, maybe you do know, in fact, but what I'd really like you to do is sort of allow yourself to show me, for me to show you my process. there's so many processes, so many ways of doing things. I just want to share the way that really works for me. And so it's not, this whole thing isn't just about the painting. Really, it's about our relationship with making a beautiful object. You know, what is it? In fact, what we're doing really is like we're having a dialogue with an object, we're having a dialogue with a person, and we're putting that dialogue onto canvas. We're putting that conversation becomes a conversation that the viewer or the client who buys your painting can see that conversation, can see that actually what they're seeing is part of you. Now that part of you, or that part of me, is, for example, I've been noticing lately that whenever I'm painting or talking about painting and painting materials, I have one of these in my hands. When I was a tiddly squat 2-year-old, like, you have these funny little memories, don't you? And I know because one of my sons did exactly the same. I carried around a cloth with me all the time. Just hold it to my mouth. I don't put these in my mouth. Probably a good idea. It's got oil paint all over it. But it's like I find myself clutching this while I'm working when I go into the painting zone. So what we're doing, the reason why we're this vulnerability that we're moving into, that we're cautious about. We want to protect our child, don't we? And so, like, by building up a group of support, by like working together, by sort of talking through all of these things, we start to allow this child within us to play. Now, this child within us is like infinite. It's got infinite potential. It's always there. It's not a weak childness. It's just like a child that needs encouraging. It's a child that needs to be, you need to embrace this child. So materials are really important in the way that we handle them. To start with, definitely, I have found that naturally what I do is I stick to a few objects. So to start with, this is like a 1/2 inch. Get it from any hardware store, 50p shop, WH Smith's, whatever, B&Q. It's just an ordinary brush. And you can do so much with this 1/2 inch brush in making your initial marks on the canvas. So you don't need to go and have loads and loads of different brushes. Of course, if you've got them, great. If you want to buy them, great. But in my experience, I find that just a few brushes do a hell of a lot. And this, like 1/2 inch brush, you can use it on the side, on the flat. You can just dip it a bit in the top and just put tiny little marks on and achieve a hell of a lot. What we've got to remember is that we've got to relearn the way we do everything. Relearn, especially if we haven't done anything since we were a child, or, even if we've got ourselves into these habits and we don't even realise we're doing it. There's certain things I've learned which really improve the opportunity of me making great marks onto a canvas in a great painting. So simple brushes, like, again, simple with the colours, with the acrylics. Have the basic colours, have like your primary colours, and then you can experiment with mixing, yellows and blues for greens, greens and reds for browns, red, green and yellow together to make dark shades of anything. With acrylics, you can play around a lot with these things because you can basically paint on top of what you're doing quite quickly. When we move into oils, all that knowledge comes into play. It is part of the same thing, it's not different. Now, a lot of people think, I'll keep it simple and just do watercolours to start with. Actually, it's a completely different thing. So I've done some watercolour painting when I started. I haven't explored it a lot, but it's just complete, in fact, it's what you don't paint makes great watercolour painting. So, like I say, there's absolutely loads of stuff on the internet so you can research, find out. If you want to do acrylic painting, if you want to do oil painting, then you're in the right place. Oil painting, on the big course that we do, that we're going to be doing, Make a Great Painting, is going to have oil painting, working with oil painting, and that it's fine. We can do it. You can do it, and end up with a great painting. And 100% we'll be getting you there to have a great painting by the end of the few weeks that the course runs. There'll be like a whole number of, there'll be group support, there'll be one-to-one videos on a regular basis with me to talk about your problems, the difficulties you have, and any advice whatsoever. There'll be a group like feedback. We'll be like sharing our work so that we can really support each other. You'll make some really great friends that you'll keep well after the course is finished. And the course and the videos that come with it will be yours for life, so you can refer to them at any time. And of course, like, there'll be a Facebook and a web page and stuff where you can keep in contact with me. And further courses, if you want to go further with your start to move your art on as a career, then join me again for sort of more intense ways of getting your work out there about this relationship with the world out there. You know, I'm still on that journey. I've just started, but I've got paintings in Japan, I've got them in America, I've got them all over Europe, all over the UK already, and that's in a couple of years. And it's by all sorts of manner and means, but absolutely, to start with, it's about building this confidence in yourself and this confidence in the work that you do. And you can only do that by starting now. So please start now. Start painting now. It really is a wonderful, wonderful activity, and a chance to allow this creative part of you that's been suppressed, locked away, or running on half steam, to really express itself. So next time we'll be talking about I can't draw. So it's like, I can't draw is like, yes, it's fine to talk about paintings, but I can't draw. So next time we'll look a bit more in depth to that part. So watch the video again, take some notes at some point, just think about all of the stuff that we've been talking about, and check out your space. I'll see you next time.